Okay, so welcome to the event. Managing student experience. Um, what's there to say? Let me introduce myself. My name is Latifa Bello. I'm currently a student at the University of Lagos. I'm studying economics. I enjoy managing communities and doing community stuff. Someone please tell me I'm audible in the chat. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So, I manage communities for fun initially, but now I think I want to make it a profession. Oh my God, William is not hearing anything. Please, William, let me just tell him to join. Okay, so I started my community management career officially done around February. Yes, started joining community managers forums and should I say community managers community, that kind of thing. And then I met a few other community managers that are doing well in the industry, spoke to a few. The experience has been chilling, honestly, and I think it's so much fun gathering with people of like mind, knowing you are not alone, and it's just sweet. That's the best thing I can say. It's really, really sweet. So about this event, the event was brought about by I think we'll just do that later. Let's go over the agenda. Okay, so this is our agenda for today. Would be we already had our arrival, the welcoming part of it. Yes, we already have our arrival. Then the introduction and welcoming. So introduction about students community. That's the community that brought about this event. So we're talking about the community, then the panel session on managing students community experience. Then we have Q&A for the panelists. Then we have announcements from the organizers of the event, and then departure houses. Even though it's a virtual event, but then it's all good. So next, about students. So as I mentioned earlier, students community brought about this event, and then students community is a community specifically focused on students community builders and managers. I think community and people that do community engagements too, they fall under that category. So it was created to help people with interest in building and managing communities, both online and in person, so we can like relate with relate with each other, learn from each other, have discussions, healthy discussions. Then it all started from the typical question I think everybody asks when they volunteer to manage communities, like how can I build my own community. So I reached out to EA. She's somewhere on the call, she's too shy. So and then she said I should just start my own community, and then she pushed me to do this. So we want to create a supportive community for student community managers, focusing on learning from each other, providing opportunities, and then what else? Just helping each other out basically. Then at Sudex community, we believe in building and strengthening communities that contribute and think critically. So students serves as a space for student community managers to learn practical skills. As I've mentioned earlier, we want to learn from each other. So we want to learn how to become successful community managers. We want to develop our skills and sharpen our knowledge on community management. Then we want to have healthy discussions around community management, community engagement, social media engagement, and other community management related discussion. Oh my god, you can't see my slide. Can you see it now? Okay, thank you. So students community, we um we intend to offer workshops, events, then access to international conferences, internships, and then since we are all students, we thought it would be a good one to have study abroad opportunities and more. The more is not yet specific. We are working towards the more. So if you are a curious person, you love building communities, you love helping people, you love seeing people strive. So community management thing basically. So students community is the right place for you to be. You're just right there. And then since it's a community, I believe that we all have to do our own part to making the community work. And then we are currently seeking volunteers to help contribute to making the community a better one, and then just making the community better overall. Okay, so I don't know if anybody have questions about Studex community. If you have any questions, you can just drop it in the chat and I'll be able to answer real quick. Or how can you volunteer? Okay, at the end of the session, I would paste the link to the form. So everybody that wants to volunteer, I will also paste the link to the Slack invite and our Twitter, our brand new baby Twitter, or our brand Twitter baby. So you can follow us, you can join on Slack, you can volunteer, and then you can also share the link among your community manager friends. And actually, it's not really about people that are already community managers alone. I mean, professional community managers. If you are just a budding community manager like myself, or you aspire to be one, or you maybe it doesn't have to be like a real community management official setting, but some of us are just ESCOs in our department. So and then we have group chats. So and then I think during this ASU strike, most of those type of group chats have been dormant. I don't know, but mine. So welcome to like join the community to know how to make people in your community more active, engage them. So that's the kind of community we are striving to build. Okay, so next, over to the panelist session. Yay, I'm so excited. Okay, so panelist session, managing student experience. So we have 4 people on our panelist session. We have Abdullahi Abdulkabir.
Hello, everyone.
Students community is not a sub-community of C4A. No, it's not. Is it an individual community? Yes. So Abdullahi is currently a software engineer and he manages GDG or JAW community. Abdullahi, would you say I? Abdullahi, you are on mute.
Oh, yes, I know. So I happen to lead some student communities when I was in Unilag then, and now I currently lead. I'm a co-organizer for GDD or JAW Festa. GDD stands for Google Developer Groups.
So you are eating good money.
What do you say?
So you're eating Google money.
I don't know, but I'm a community organizer.
I can already see that you don't know. Okay.
That's me.
Peace Agbola, she's a tech savvy and a social entrepreneur. She's currently a student ambassador and a product associate at Nestcoin. She manages Designer Point community. Peace, are you free to say hi?
Hi everyone, glad to
Hi.
be here. Thank you, Latifa, for the intro. I think that is basically it about me. I manage a few communities in the time, and I'm currently still working with a few community managers and also leading a few communities in my school and globally as a whole. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Okay, so we also have Olushola Samuel or Samuel Olushola. He's currently a backend engineer at Udox and he manages I4G Unilab community. I4G money. Olushola.
Yeah, good everyone. Yeah, I think that's pretty much about me. I'm a backend engineer and also managing I4 Junior Lag. I think that's all. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Okay, you're welcome. We also have Bethany Japchumba. She's currently a cloud advocate at Microsoft. I don't know if she's here yet. Bethany, are you here? I don't think she's here. Okay, I think Bethany is not here yet. So started with the panel session, and then when Bethany joins, she can introduce herself properly. I think she's having some issues on her end. Okay, so this is how it's going to go. I'll ask a question and then we start in the format I introduced you. Abdullahi answers first, then Peace, then Samuel, then Bethany. Okay, so we already did the introduce yourself part of the questions. Okay, so how did you start the community you are managing? Was it you that started the community that you are currently managing?
Is that for me?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Is that for me? Is that person?
It's for everybody.
So looking at where my is at the moment, it's actually not good at starting.
Although you're not audible.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear now.
Okay, so looking at my own community, I didn't really start it. I didn't start it from my own. So it was started by someone else, and then I was invited as a co-organizer to also lead the community.
Okay, nice. Okay, peace.
So before working as a product manager, I was a front end developer, and I started the designers community with the aim of bringing both the product designers, that is those that are into UI UX, and those that are the front end devs, a community that connects both sides together to collaborate, to learn, and to share opportunities. I started it up of the community myself.
Wow, that's so nice to hear. Okay, Samuel.
I and my lead then we started the community. We were the first set of leads in I4 Junior Lag. I think that was in 2020. Before my lead graduated and then I became the lead. So we started it then, not just me and someone else.
Oh, nice. Nice to hear. You all have been starting communities. Bethany, are you here now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My audio is giving me issues, but yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so
Okay. So I'm Bethany. I'm from Kenya. I work at Microsoft as a cloud advocate. I've been here for I think about 4 months now. Before that, I worked at Andel as a program coordinator. So programs like GADS and partnership with Microsoft and Salesforce. I was tasked to run them, and yeah. And in regards to student community, in campus, I was a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. So that was from 2019 all the way till this year when I left the program. But yeah, as part of the MLSA program, we were the first group, myself and three others were the first in our school. So we started the community in our school. And then in 2020, COVID came around and we had to scale our program. So we decided to build the community to be countrywide. So different people leading different technologies, but now a countrywide community for students. Yeah.
oh, nice. So, did you start the community in your school?
Yeah, we did with with three others. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, so up to the next one. How has it been, or how was it? Because I know Brittany is a graduate. How has it been managing the community and being a student? We start from Abdullahi again.
Okay, so I'm going to just narrate a bit of my experience when I was also I am an ambassador for Ingressive. I think before it became IG for something, Ingressive for Good, I was an ambassador for Ingressive. I would say really it is not easy to manage students, especially in terms of pulling an event, because most times if you are leading a community and you need to like organize events and ensure that you keep your community engaged and all of that. And most of the time, it is always an event that comes up to make your event like engaged. So managing students is not really is not an easy task really. So one of the things I would say is that while managing student community, someone has to be careful and he has to like be patient, because there are times that you might call for events and few people will just turn up out of the so many people that signed up online. So like that is also one of the things that someone needs to like have as a leader. Need to be so you just get the point. So that's it for me, Sha.
Oh, nice. I can actually relate to the many registrations and very little turnout, because I literally hosted an event and then I had 71 registration. And guess what? Just three people joined my event. Oh my goodness. Then three people joined, and those three people did not even register at all. That event was a catastrophe.
And that's one of the things someone needs to like manage as a leader. Really, it is not
Yeah.
easy.
Honestly, it was very sad for me that day. But it's fine now. Okay, over to you, Peace. Peace, are you here? I think Peace is not here. Okay, so Bethany, would you just go next?
Yeah, sure. I also faced similar problems when organizing an event. There's one event we hosted in school, and we had ordered food, and the food was for 100 people. The RSVPs were over 200, and then on the day of the event at 9 a.m. there were like only 3-4 people in the hall. So we had to go round out more people. At least at the end of the day, we had 50 people coming in, participating during the event, and then afterwards, we learned our lesson. We didn't order, because we ordered food for like 100 people and only 50 showed up. So that was something that we learned on the way. But then the other thing is also like time management, being able to balance between your studies and communities. And also, as you lead communities, you also need to personally develop yourself. So things like if you're leading a front end community, you need to also go back to the drawing board, do your code and everything. So that was also another challenge I faced. Yeah.
Yeah, that food part. I don't want to narrate my experience, but then you just move. That's the only statement to console me. Thanks for sharing your experience. Miss Peace back.
It's not resources, anything resources is good because
Honestly, because
when
sometimes you have crowd speakers and then they won't even show up.
exactly. So
The
it's
speakers
always sad
there.
to always sad when you have something like that.
Yeah, very sad.
And then
Hi,
I
hi
think
guys,
I
can
will
anyone
also
hear
relate
me?
to. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Peace, you are up.
Oh, can anyone hear me?
Yes, yes, loud and clear.
Okay, so I'm sorry for the breakouts. I was having network issues, so sorry about that. So I think the question you asked, the how the experience has been managing a community. I don't know if I'm right
Yeah, as a student.
as a student. Okay, so I think managing a community as a student, in one word, it is tedious and it is demanding, right? So the people who makes up a community, what makes a community is those that you have in the community, that is the members, the people. And when you want to manage a community, you're not just managing the organization as it is, but you're managing the people. And managing people can be really demanding and can be really, really tedious sometimes, because like I think Bethany was talking about you having events and people not showing up. Aside from events, you have core members. There are some communities that, as a team lead, or let me say, as the head of that community, you have other sub teams like maybe your program manager, your social media manager, and you find out that sometimes when they are supposed to work on a particular task or when they are supposed to do something, they are not, or when they're supposed to push out something on the media, it's not just going, and all these things keeps one frustrated. At a point you want to blame yourself, or at a point you are just angry because people are not working, or they are not doing things you want them to do, or they are not being committed as much as you are committed, right? So it can be emotionally draining at times, right? But I think for me, what has helped me is understanding the reason why I am building the people, when I'm building the community. So while you're on the journey of trying to build a community, or while you're building a community, definitely you are going to be stressed. That is why, if you are not someone of the people, if you are not someone that understands how to manage individuals, you are going to probably give up at the end of the day. But one good thing about managing committee is it teaches you people, even when you're in a professional setting, when you're outside the normal community, when you're in the office, or when you're building a team, or when you're in a team, you learn to work with people, right? So in general, it is stressful, but it has the good side of it, because you learn to manage people and you learn to do things with a team of people. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that one. Team members. Story for another day. But thank you very much. What has been the major highlight of managing community or communities? We start from Abdullah. Is Abdullah there?
Sorry, can you take the question again?
Okay, what has been the major highlight of managing a community or communities?
Well, is it in terms of personal growth or
Mm, I would say like something related to the community, maybe not personal now.
Well, in terms of community, I would say we witness growth in the like number of people coming to the journey the community. It increased, and we're able to like see the impact we are making as an ambassadors. And yeah, I think those are like the major two things. Number one is membership growth. Number two is the impact we have seen, like we have given the community. So that those are like the major things. Me.
Like impact and growth, yeah, I think they're actually very, very important for any community. So we go to peace.
What has been the major highlights of being a community manager? So I believe having a community, there is a reason why that community was created, or why the community was there's a reason for everything, I believe. And before you can create a community like I4G, right, or like MLSA, there was a reason why Microsoft wanted us to, right. So I think the major highlight is what, just as Abdullah said, is when you have success stories, when you have success stories, when you have impact, when you make an impact. What do I mean? Success stories are such when you work together to achieve a common goal. I think a major highlight I can always relate to it is the conference we had for MLSA last year. Bethany was, I think she was the program manager, and I was a facilitator for the M365 section alongside one other ambassador. At the end of the day, although the process was stressful because we needed to be attending meetings, even though some of us are working during the days, for me, I needed to be attending. Sometimes I was attending two meetings at a time, trying to ensure that what we are building, the goal of making sure this conference is successful, is attained. So the highlight has been for that event was the fact that at the end of the day there was a success story we could share that we made this happen. So usually having a community can be stressful, but when it comes to sharing success stories, makes it all interesting because you feel the impact, you feel the teamwork, and you feel the growth as time goes on. So the highlight has been that of success stories, impact, alongside the pains that comes with having to build together. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that one. Success story. Yes, I think it's actually a very good one to measure the is it growth of the community. Yes. So Bethany.
Yeah, I'll also add the same things, the impact and the growth. So as Peace mentioned, we hosted. I can hear my echo. I'm not sure why, but as Peace mentioned, we hosted a session, a conference last year with her, and that was the second time we hosted a conference. The first time we did was in 2020, and we wanted to do a conference virtually for Africans everywhere, summit for everyone who can join in. And one of the things was we had one of the biggest sessions we had was a recruiting session whereby students are made aware of how they can get into Microsoft, internships opportunities, and everything. And one of the students actually applied during that session, and she became an intern, and now she's coming back as a graduate software engineer. So being able to see what impact you can make in someone else's life is always the end goal. But then also sometimes you also, not sometimes, also you personally, you are able to grow. I don't think growth comes with just sitting there, but with action. Every action has, of course, a reaction, and in every action you do, there's something that you aiming to get out of. And most of the time when you're organizing an event, probably you're seated there looking at the plans and everything, and you know it will turn out as perfect as it would. But then, as you mentioned in the earlier on, sometimes you get challenges like people don't show up in the numbers you expected, and dealing with all these setbacks, you figuring out, okay, it seems like we overcounted the number. What do we do when you deal with all this? Probably a speaker is missing. How do you handle such a session and so on? You grow yourself as an individual. You learn how to work with people. You learn how to handle different things, and that is something that we should also get out from, especially when you're managing like student communities. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that wonderful piece, Bethany. So Samuel is back. The question we are currently answering is what has been the major highlight of managing the community you were managing or you are currently managing? What has been the major highlight?
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, guys. My internet just went off right now. I'm going to find another means. Okay, the major highlight has been the what do we call it? The study groups that we had, because we had in our community we had what we call like the study groups where we had people on what they want to learn. Those that want to learn front end development, those that want to learn design and stuff. That has been like the most I'll say the most effective thing and the most interesting thing that we have done so far in the community. And I've seen people go from there to also apply to other trainings like the current zero internship that is going on. And because of the training that they have had from our own study groups that we had, so it made them like get into the program, which was like quite difficult for most people. Yeah, so yeah, that's I think that's it for my side.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so things are getting interesting. You are in success stories, having study group growth, and measuring impact. So, what has been the major challenge that you encountered? The major challenge. Let's start from Bethany this time.
I think I'll just go back to when actually I think the major one was when COVID hit, because I was starting. I became a student ambassador in September 2019. I wasn't in session in the March, January, April session. So during that time, I was on my attachment. And of course, we have left like the community to someone else to run, and you're hoping to go back to school to run it. But then COVID struck, and now everyone was like, okay, either stop with everything or should we continue? And so we sat down and we decided, since probably the main thing is we won't be able to do any physical events for a while, what about we look into virtual events? And I think the good thing with Microsoft is we already had Teams. So it wasn't like we start looking for, hey, which platform are we using and so on. So the first thing was just playing around and doing like a pulse check to see if people will be joining the sessions. And then we started hosting different sessions on AI and data science and so on. But yeah, that was the biggest challenge, being able to now navigate and shift from offline to online. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that COVID year. I'm just happy that a lot of people survived because it was not funny. Okay, so let's have Samuel.
Okay. Yeah, I think the greatest challenge that we had has been like um teammates that are at Tibia. I think that's how I put it. Because one thing I learned is in the community, success is actually dependent on the team. It is good to have a plan, but if you can like have teams that are like working towards that plan. And I would say one of the things that affected us was also the COVID, because people, when we couldn't see each other physically, we couldn't like hang out, stuff like that. So those are kind of some of the things that affected us. But later on we were able to like go past through that. But I'll say that was like one of the biggest challenges we had when we started. Keeping people motivated in the community. Yeah.
Okay, nice. COVID and inactive. Is it? Do you mean team members or like the core team, right?
Yeah, the core team, and it trickles down to it goes up to the community also, to the people in the community when the core teams are not like active.
Yeah.
And I would say one of the reasons that happened was because after the lead left, it took some time before like I had other colleagues join. Sure you get.
Yeah.
So when other colleagues joined, like things really
Yeah.
changed then, because then I could delegate to them on stuff to do. So,
Oh, nice.
but those period was just very difficult then. Very, very difficult.
Oh, nice. Get past that now.
Yup, sure.
Go now.
Okay, thanks, Latifa. So, just as Bethany and Samuel have said, I think a major thing or the most difficult part of leading a community is not having proactive team members, or let me say committed team members. This is like a major problem in almost all communities, because as a community member or as team members, you are volunteering your time, your resources, your time, your resources, everything you have. You are not being paid for what you do. So it's very hard, or it can be really, really draining when you are the team lead and your members are not active as much as you do want them to do things. For instance, I was the assistant campus director for Art Prize at Obafemi Awolowo University in 2020, and that was during COVID-19, right? And this time around, usually we have our event as a physical on-campus conference where we get speakers around Nigeria that are doing amazing stuffs. But unfortunately for me and my campus director, it was COVID-19. We were asked to go back home. So we needed to, for the first time in the history of Art Prize and in the history of OAU. So it was very for me to manage people, for me to manage my team, and for us to even access sponsors. It was all of that period of time. A lot of people were rejecting. But one thing that really helped us was the fact that we were able to define the goal with the team. We were able to have subsequent meetings, let them understand that, guys, we understand that this is a difficult time, because a lot of people were tired, they were just exhausted mentally. And aside from the COVID-19, these are things that are still going on with people, especially when it comes to communities that you are not being paid. One thing that you can do, or one thing that we did, was we made people to feel among. We were able to communicate with ourselves. It was difficult at a point because members were not active, or let me say team core members, team leads that were heading some core positions like newsletter, like sponsorship, they were not being active, right? So we needed to let go of some people, we needed to take up a role. So it can be difficult managing people, not proactive people and inactive team members. So I think that has been the major or the most difficult part of leading a community. But um it can be overcome if these things, if you can communicate properly with your team members, make them feel alive, and you yourself be an active member, be ready to do things when nobody's around. Don't feel left out, or don't feel like things cannot be done without somebody, but make everybody feel among. Yeah, managing the team is always a very difficult thing.
You think active team members can be a pain in the neck. So Abdullah, you can go now.
So I think most of the speakers have said everything. I can totally relate to a lot of their comments. I think the only thing I might just need to add is so in terms of getting sponsorship and all of those requests to like fund your event, I think that's one of the things that was a headache for me. Um, yes, that's the only thing I can add for now.
Okay, nice. Saying about sponsorship after Google money.
No, I mean after considering all of the what other speakers have said, the only thing I just need to add was is just the sponsorship part, like getting sponsorship for your event or other things.
Okay. Just a quick question. You people don't get sponsorship from. I mean, those that didn't start their community from scratch. Like, say, if you're a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador or I4G lead or something, you don't get sponsorship from those that own the community. I mean, like from above.
So for I ingressive, we do get, but then it's actually difficult to um, get them approved. After you've draft, and they are sure that these amount of people that you draft, they are going to come. They are not going to just waste your money and all of this stuff. So like it's always tedious to like get the sponsorship approved. And if you want to go for other partners or other sponsors, they have to like align with the companies or whatever company that is in charge of that community. So they have to like align with their interest or they approve sponsorship from those companies.
Oh, wow. Peace mentioned that she had to like look for sponsors. So do you have any other community that you get sponsorship directly from the owners?
Is that question for me, Latifa?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm asking you now.
Oh, okay. So, I think usually most community owners, even those that own a community, they don't sponsor their events solely themselves. For instance, let me cite maybe Ingressive for food, for good rather, or She Codes Africa. When they want to have conferences, you can't see Ada sponsoring the whole event herself, because it is expensive to sponsor events yourself, and you want to seek for partnership from other
Yeah,
people.
that's what I'm saying. You know, let's say for example, you have She Code Africa, a union
Yeah.
OAU branch.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to host an event in She Code Africa OAU, does the umbrella, She Code Africa umbrella, do they give you funding, or you have to seek for sponsorship as She Code Africa OAU independently?
Yeah, so I think what She Code Africa can do, or what they do for OAU community, is if there's an event that She Code Africa wants to organize, although we've not had any event, I'm part of She Code Africa OAU community. We send our budget. They can decide to give us like 10 or 20% of our budget, but not spearhead the whole event. They expect that we reach out to our other potential sponsors to make the event a fun-filled one and a collaborative one.
Okay, nice.
So
So
it
all
is
you
it is
well,
very okay.
please you can continue.
Yeah, I wanted to say that it is very rare for you to see where you are a community lead of a particular organization and then they sponsor the whole event for you. Usually what they do is they just support you one way or the other, and you you take care of the majority of the event yourself.
Okay, thank you very much. Samuel.
She has basically said what they do actually. Most times, what they also do is to help us give us the format. For example, now if you want to send a mail to sponsors, so they give us like the template to use, and also they might recommend sponsors for us to. So, yeah, that's it majorly.
Okay, thank you. What about you, Bethany?
Yeah, for I think for the Microsoft community, it's similar to the Google developers community. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so let's move forward. How do you deal with inactive members, not team members now, like the community of, we have dormant members. How do you deal with them? Let's start from Samuel.
Um, I think one time what we did was to like tell people that they should respond to a message. I think we gave them some time limit to do that, and then people that didn't do that, we just remove them from the community. Like to reach out to those we reach out to, but when you have too many, like based on the number of members you have, of course, if they are not active, because most times you need to know the people that are in what you want to do. Now, when we are doing we need to know people that will be involved so that we know like how we will distribute. So we just get on like I think it was 3 days to respond to a message, and people that were not able to respond were like taken off. Yeah.
Basic type of group.
Yeah, although
Okay.
there are people that came back to say they want to join again, that maybe they are bad or something. But after that, people that are left are people that people change most of the time. They might join because of something and totally forget about it, or maybe they are no more interested in whatever it is, or something happened.
Yeah, I totally understand. I totally understand. Thank you very much for that one. So let's have Bethany.
Yeah. So people, the thing is with people is that people are different. So you might not have any idea why they joined the community or what they're doing or the reason they're inactive. So most of the time is first, if you're doing like a program of some sort and you find that some people are inactive, you go ahead and just ask them what challenges they're facing and try and see if you can be able to fix them. Of course, when they say things like, hey, you do not have enough data and so on, that's something that you might be unable to fix. But if they say it's the problem is time, probably doing something like pairing them with accountability partners and so on. But then our MLSA community is still currently a bit big, so it's not something that you will chase people away because they did not do ABCD. But it's something that they're just part of the community, but they are should I quote and say, the inactive members. Maybe probably the events you're hosting at this period does not interest them. But once someone signs up to be part of a program, that's when we actually tell them, actually consider things like what challenges are you facing? Is it because of A, B, C, D? How can we help you? And then if we cannot help, just tell them, okay, we may not be able to help you this time. do you wish to still continue the program or leave the program? And then at the end of the day, we normally do, if it's giving out swag or something of that sort, we only give out to, or badges or something, it's only done to the most active members. So it won't be in vain at the end of the day. Yeah, I think that's it from me.
Thank you for that, Bethany. Let's have you, please.
Yeah, so I think Bethany actually said my mind. So usually, sometimes, the reason why some members are not active is probably because they do not understand what is going on. I'll cite an example at MLSA now. It's not everybody at MLSA that is very active, and I won't say almost everyone understand what is going on at MLSA. Why some people were just very busy, a whole lot of that, you know. So I think when you're having this going on with the community you're managing, it is a different thing if your core team members are not being active. That can affect the growth of that community. I mean, when your core team members are not being active, that is very delicate, and that must be attended with all seriousness. You know, you want to ensure that you have the right people to drive the community. But when just the normal community now, and you see that the energy or the response is not as it should be, you want to find out, make your survey, your research, what is going on, why are these people not responding? Is it that we need to redirect the way we are doing things? Is it that we are not carrying them along? Is it that they do not feel like part of this community? Because if I do not feel like I'm a part of something, I will not really be motivated to contribute or to say anything, right? So you can ask questions. What is the problem? You can probably create a poll asking them what reasons why they are not being active, what they think they should improve on. And for those that do not, those that you think that they are still lacking, you can go ahead to have a personal conversation with them and then give option to stay or to drop off. Just as Bethany has said, you don't want to drop them off yourself simply because you feel they are not being active and you cannot do people that are not active. Give them the opportunity and give them another chance, because some people just need another chance to be better or to prove themselves. But when you have core team members that are not being active, you need to take that up seriously. And also, I think another thing that does not make members active is because they do not feel they are valued enough, right? So it's always good to carry them along with what you're doing. If you have the power to incentivize them, please do give them incentives, make them feel, even if it's some little, make them feel um make them feel good. And if all these things have been done and for community members and they are not being active still, I think the best thing to do is to keep doing what you're doing, right? One thing I know about community members, when there's a story to share, everybody wants to be a part of the story. When there's a success story or when there's something that has been achieved, everybody wants to feel and be a part of that story, right? So just keep doing your thing. But when it is the core team member now that is not showing up, that is not being active, that is not taking up the role, please try to get to the root of that and give them the option to either take up, to either work or to drop off, right? So management and the person, you need to be patient with dealing with them too, because you're dealing with people and people are going through different things at different times. You never can tell what this person is going through, why they're not being active. So just give people option and let them feel among. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that one. Very, very insightful. Thank you very much. So Abdullah.
So for me, in my own community, we don't just actually just drop people like that. Because even to join the community is an effort too. So what we tend to like do in our own scenario is that we try to look for ways we can engage them. Um, After like looking for ways to like engage them, we might add maybe incentives or maybe swags to whatever engagement we are trying to like push to them. So by adding those incentives, I believe we should have substantial number of people participating in them. So that is a way, one of the ways like we try to like revive the community and those that are not active in the community.
Thank you very much. I see we are running out of time, so let's just be answering in 2 minutes. So okay, what opportunity as a managing community awarded you? What is opportunity? What are the opportunities that managing community has like exposed you to? Let's start from Bethany.
Yeah, as I said, previously I worked at Andela as a program coordinator, and that was as a result of community, because before Andela, I don't think I had done any other community related job. So by them seeing what I was doing at the Microsoft Ambassador community, and also being a member at what being being a mentor at one of the programs, they were able to recommend me to work with them as a program assistant. And I before I left, I was a full-time employee there. And then, of course, also currently working at Microsoft, also can be directly linked to the benefits I got when I was a student ambassador. For example, we had the benefit of getting Azure credits every month, about $150, and then we also had the benefit of doing certifications. So yes, I do not per se come from a technical background, but being able to use the tools that were presented to me by hosting events, by building things, I was able to demonstrate that I am actually capable of tech, that I actually know what tech is, and I can be competent as a cloud advocate role. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Bethany. Let's have Samuel now, please.
Okay, thank you. So, first, I'll first need to clarify, please. I was referring to the study groups that we had when I talked about like only people off if they were not active on the group. We still had the main group where they were. So now on the opportunities that I've seen for managing the community, I think one of them would be being able to organize events. Those are the things I think I've learned, and also it spill over to one other community that I joined. That is the Filecoin community in Lagos, Orbit community in Lagos. So my experience from I4G to be an active member of the community, I wasn't leading that one. I'm just like a member. So the experiences that I've had from I4G, I could carry it along to that. So I think yeah, that's it on my and I also think that's why like I was accepted into the community because they saw my experience as a community leader somewhere else, and that's why I was accepted to the team. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much for that one. Let's have this.
Okay. So I think my success story cannot be written without mentioning community. Literally, when I'm being asked these questions at conferences, speaking engagement, I always mention community as being a part of my success story and my career journey. Right. So when I got my first official opportunity, it was in 20. Okay, it was in 2020. Yes, ending of the end of 2020, and I got this through GB of Flutterwave directly himself. I do this. So I met him while I was organizing an event, and I was so into bringing him as a speaker. So I did all I could. I was very active activeness. He saw the way I was committed. Okay, so I was able to have his private WhatsApp number, and he started to follow up on me, started to check up on me, and he just referred me for a role. That was my official role. And being a part to, I think in 2021 when we had the conference, I was able to meet my current mentor, who is now a senior who is a senior program manager at Microsoft, right? So she recommends me for roles. She has been a part of all the things I've been doing. So it has really helped me. And aside from the opportunities, personal development too, because when you're organizing events, when you're leading a team, it's going to prepare you ahead for the times of official opportunities. You're learning to communicate with people, you're learning to write emails, you're learning to write letters, you're learning to be a better person, right? So definitely there's so many things I've gotten, and it is worth the energy, it is worth the commitment.
Okay, thank you very much for that one. It seems me to start managing communities now. I think that's the new oil. Abdullah.
Yes, so I can also relate to what Peace said, because virtually when I started too, it was all thanks to community, and even till where I am now at the moment, it's all thanks to the community. So another thing again that the community also helped me was, aside my technical and all of those, I was able to like get experience of like public speaking, because also while you are organizing an event or trying to like coordinate your community, you also need to speak in one way or the other. Um, um, some perks from the community owners. Yes, for GDD we get some packs and all of that. So that's also part of the thing.
Wow, so you all have been cashing out doing community management, and you didn't
So
think to tell me all this while.
I didn't say money, I say perks.
No, cashing out doesn't have to be monetary. Like, he's being referred to a role, and the role is giving her money. So it's not that it directly gave her the money, but at least it was the first way to give her the money.
Yeah.
Then she got a job at Canada, then got a job at Microsoft. See some more. You guys have been making waves, though.
I also joined the Microsoft Student Learn Ambassador. I'm currently one, and I think one of the application process requires me to like show whatever I've done before, like things related to speaking engagement or community management. So what I've done before was actually helpful and assisted me to like get access to become an ambassador for Microsoft students.
Wow. Wow. That's just wow for me. I'll soon start community management, so I must cash out. Okay. So what was one thing you wish you did differently from the beginning of your community management? I don't want to say career, I want to say journey, because some of you are probably not working as a manager. It's not even some, all. But like what is one thing you think differently rather? Let's start from Samuel.
Yeah, I think that's a tricky. Um, one thing I would say, let me see, I wish I did differently. Also, maybe add something like this, like a session like this, where I meet other community managers and they're already managing, and also like learning from them. Although I did like a few of my friends, but I would have, there was a platform like a community of community managers where we could like discuss what they were doing and how we could incorporate it with what we want to do, and all. Yeah, I think that would have helped. to make things much more easier.
Okay, nice. So now we asked to the ex community, you should come and join us. Okay, so
Okay.
let's have Bethany.
Can you repeat the question?
I said, what was one thing you wished you did differently from the beginning of your community management journey?
I think being more open to more opportunities, because every day is a learning opportunity as a community manager. So being more open and vocal about what you're doing, and yeah, that's entirely it. Just doing more of what I was doing. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so let's have peace. Is peace there? I think peace is not here. Abdullah, would you just go next?
So I don't really have anything to say on this at the moment on top of my head.
Okay, so you didn't wish you met whoever introduced you to GDG earlier, and then you'd have been cashing out earlier.
Oh yeah. I actually wish to, because there was a particular park I saw,
Can
or like I
anyone
saw
hear
some
me?
of the organizers of some GDG organizers. I saw them attending some summit, all expense paid. I actually wish that I had joined earlier, sincerely. I actually wish, because that was even the reason that motivated me to join the community then, because to just get all expense paid from particular community, you know that no, this community is actually something. So
Wow.
like, I wish I had joined earlier. I wish I had started earlier. Though I'm not doing it full time, but I just enjoy doing it. I just enjoy like making impact and coordinating people. So that's that.
Okay, nice. Thank you. Peace, I think you're back.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my microphone. It just puts me off when I want to speak. I don't know. Maybe it's fighting with me. So,
Sorry about that.
please, can you repeat the question?
I said, what was one thing you wish you did differently from the beginning of your community management journey?
Mm, I'm not sure what the right question would, the answer would be from my end, because right from the start, I always position myself for opportunities. Like for everything I do, I always look at how would this improve my own personal life, my career journey. So I think if there's one thing I should have done, or I should have worked on, is not being afraid of doing the big things, of putting my story or taking the big steps, and also being tolerant more. I think in the time past, I was always very I'm a proactive person. Whatever I do, like I'm always very proactive. So it was later on I understood that not everyone is like me, and not everyone can be as proactive as I am. So I came to that understanding and started to learn how to work with people more, and started to learn how to deal with people more. And I started to learn how to position myself for opportunities more and take up big things that seems like it is impossible. Yeah, which helps me along the line.
Yes. Do we have Samuel? I think Samuel is off. So, okay, I think he's off. Okay, so do you have like a succession plan for your community? Like, if I leave, this is the next in line. Do you have something like that in your communities? Let's start with Abdullah, because he's the only man online now.
Okay, so for succession plan, I don't really have one. but I think the community already has one. So once you immediately join as a co-organizer, there are steps that you need to follow as an organizer, and I believe it's going to like guide the organizers joining in newly. I believe that's like a guide. But for me personally, say I draft a plan that okay, the community should increase by so time. No, I don't really have that written out.
Okay, nice. Thank you. So let's have peace.
Well, I think it depends on the type of a community. For instance, there are some community that is self-owned, like myself, the one I started. While there are some that is led by an organization like MLSA, or let's say Chico's Africa. So what I do when it comes to successor is, before even leaving, I try to I I don't lead with the mind of I want to lead and make everyone follow, but I lead with the mind of I am leading and for everyone to be a leader. So when I am gone, things do not change. Instead, things becomes better. So whoever is my team lead or those I have on my team, we are all so strong enough. So when I'm gone, I am able to recommend someone even better than I am, or someone that has the potential of doing things. So what I do is I train people and I ensure that we are all growing together. So it is easier that way to have a successor. And when it comes to my community too, I don't make myself feel like I own the community. I let people share, take up things, and I let them make use of their voice, so that even when I'm not there, things will run without me. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that one piece. Okay, so Samuel, we missed you when we were asking what was one
What
thing.
was one thing? No, I think I answered. You asked me first.
Oh wow.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Okay, so now
Okay, so
the
now
question
the question
yeah,
is
myself.
myself. What do you say?
I can hear myself.
Oh,
Okay. So do you currently have like a succession plan in your community?
hello. Hi.
Yeah, audible.
Can you hear me? Okay. Um, I think our community is impressive, and we had like um we had we have like milestones to achieve every month and over the course of the year. So what we have right now is just documentation of what we have done, and also of things that went right and things that like didn't go right with like during our own tenure. So I would say what I would plan for anyone coming over is just telling them what we have done wrong and what we have done right. And the reason that will be quite difficult is because my colleagues that were supposed to like take over um things are happening, they could not do that. Some of them are like leaving school, so it will be someone from the house most likely take over when I leave. So I just think I would have a session with the person and let the person know what is expected of the lead, and also what we have done wrong and right. And we have some of them in documentation, like when we have our meetings, we try to document things that happened and stuff like that. So that's what I'll share with the person.
Okay. Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
Bethany.
Yeah, so for me, I'm similar to Peace. Whenever I like working with people most of the time. So whenever, for instance, for the student ambassador community, when we started out, no, after, yeah, When we started out, we had only one gold ambassador, and I worked with them. And then after a while, I was nominated, and then we were 3 gold ambassadors in our country. So from there, I made it upon myself to, 1, help onboard the new student ambassadors, and 2, to mentor someone who can also do the same, become a gold ambassador, and so on. And then, so when the next cohort, the selections were coming up, we nominated 2 more people to become gold ambassadors. And then they also, so we like go with them and then tell them also the same thing, nominating the next person, leading the community, the do's and don'ts, and so on. And then, yeah, the cycle continues. Because one thing I realized was, previously, in around 2016 or earlier, between 2014 and 2016, we had the Microsoft community in our school, and it was very active. But then between now 2016 up to now 2019, we did not have any Microsoft person in the school anymore. Like, we didn't even have, the only community that was active was the Google community. So I realized if we do not make the cycle continuous, we will have those gaps whereby you realize after a couple of years, there's no one who's taking up the community, and the community just dies a natural death. So that's normally what I do, training people working with people. If you're hosting an event, collaborating with them, they host alongside you, they see what's going on, guiding them with the best practices and so on. And as you continue, you also figure out the new, or the people you're training also, you figure out the new things from them, learn from them, and when they take over, you're assured that the community will continue to grow. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that one, Bethany. Okay, so it's time for Q&A, and I can already see a question here. So please, if you have any questions, just drop it in the chat. Asking that is I think he's talking about where we were talking about getting sponsorship and funding. He's saying, is this a common trend in Nigeria own community, or it is the same with international community? Who should answer that? Let's have Abdullahi and Peace. Abdullahi, will you go first?
Trend in what particularly? Is it in sponsorship? If it is in
Yes.
terms of getting sponsorship, yes. Every committee is subjected to almost the same way of like granting sponsorship or getting sponsorship. So, but it
Okay.
depends on the community actually. But for me, GDG, yes.
Okay, what about you, Peace? She has mic issues. Okay, Bethany, would you just answer?
Yeah, it's the same. Worldwide, you also still have to look for sponsorship sometimes, because the money you get might not be enough to cater for everyone.
Oh, nice. Okay, Peace, you're back. Do you have one or
Yeah.
two things to add?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that I think Bethany will be the best for that question. The reason being that I have solely managed Nigerian focused companies, but for instance, the organization I worked for in 2020 and 2021, 2019, Price, being an international organization, they don't sponsor at all. Like, not even 1 naira is given to you. They don't sponsor you at all. You have to sponsor yourself, do everything yourself. Like, why? I don't know, maybe there are some other organizations that sponsors, but the Nigerian ones I've worked with, they do not. I
Okay.
know Microsoft probably they give like percentage, but I've not done any of that to Microsoft before.
Nice.
But when you're organizing an event, don't have the mind of your company or your organization sponsoring you. Be ready to seek for your own sponsorship and to get funding from sponsors and partners.
Okay, nice. Thank you very much. Do we have any other question? I guess not. Okay, so we have another question. How do you go about drafting your annual plan for your community? I think I want to do that because she has started a community from scratch.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. So one thing I do is every year for the previous communities I have managed, I always define the goal for the year. And this goal needs to align with the community I am running. If it's a tech community, for me, I always list the goals. What are the things we want to achieve, right? So if you want to organize 3 events for the year, I try to set a timeline and the possible dates. Possible dates does not means that it can be changed. So I don't just run the community as it comes, because it's like going without a direction or without having a place you want to end at the end of the year or at the end of the day. So what you do is try to set the goal for the year. Okay, what is it community about? Is it a community for Microsoft or for developers? Okay, do you want to have a developers hangouts at the middle of the year? Okay, what are the type of conferences or mentorship sessions? Do you want to bring some speakers to talk to students or to talk to people on how to do this? Do you want to have a training section, and who are the kind of speakers? So try to plan based on your goal and the objectives of the organization at the beginning of every year. If not at the beginning of every year, at least maybe every quarter of the year, try to have a plan. Don't just run it, else you get tired of ideas and you just get frustrated along the line.
Thank you. I have this question for Samuel though. I know I4G is not particularly focused on the technology, like for example, Microsoft and Google. They have their own technology. So how is it like managing I4G communities? Do they have like requirements for events that you are hosting, or they have special technologies that they want you as the lead to focus on?
Um, yeah, I4G is a tech community. So the events, kind of events that we are advised to hold, technical and not technical, but still relevant to like the tech world, like soft skills and like other stuff like that, like career advice also. Those are kind of events that we would. So there is no like restriction to any technology that we should stick to. We are stating people's growth in tech through soft skills, or like bringing speakers that will talk about career advice, or on CV writing. We had a session like that on CV writing. So it is not restricted to just like a particular technology. Does that answer the question, please?
Yeah, thank you. Please, we're running out of time, and we have a question in the chat. Please, can somebody please reply in the chat so we can just go over the slide? I don't want to take a lot of your time. So, announcements from the team. The community is now open to accept members all over the globe. So far, you're a student, you have interest in managing communities, or you are currently managing a community, so you are free to join our Slack. So you can read about our community at bit.ly/about SXC. You can join our Slack channel using that link. I would make sure to send the link to everyone via mail. Then you can follow us on Twitter at Studex Community. You can register if you have a session that you'd like to deliver. You can just fill that form, and then see we are in need of volunteers like volunteers. We need a Slack admin, social media admin, partnerships, content creation. Oh my god. Then event coordinators, then you can sign up to volunteer using that link. I'll make sure to send it. And I can also paste it in the chat, or I think it would be better to send it via mail. And then I think that's all for now. Oh, thank you, Bethany, for replying him. I'm very grateful. So now it's time for our departure. Bye bye. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Bethany. Thank you, Peace. Thank you, Abdullah. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Mahmoud. And Eitayo. Thanks to everybody that attended the event.
Thank you,
You all are the
Latifah.
MVPs.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
bye.